Good morning, everybody. Today, I want to play some Foundations. I've played a lot of this game recently and have learned a lot. I've had 3 moderately successful villages of increasing quality, and my most recent Elden Gate is the farthest I've gone, but it has hit some unfortunate roadblocks that I think would be best served instead by starting over with the knowledge I've gained versus trying to fix them. So I think I want to do that today. I want to create a new game, sink a bunch of hours in, and take you guys along with me as I go over the things I've learned. Now, one of the things I really love in my old world is these islands within lakes. And I really want to put my castle there as it serves as a great artery for some of the limiting factors that come with progressing your village and sort of keeping up with demand. So I'm going to be... No, I definitely don't want that. Though that would be a very interesting castle. I just worry it would be too difficult to build with. So what I'm looking for, specifically in my plan, is I want a castle. And I want to be able to put bridges out to different sort of settlements per se. So with this one, realistically, I could maybe do one there, and one there. So maybe 3. And that doesn't sound too bad. And there's a lot of open space backed up against some mountains over here. Okay, I think we're going to be happy with that. Tutorials off, everything classic, balanced. I don't really feel like playing anything more difficult. And then relaxed. I've never played with any of these. I like to forge my own path. Let's hit randomize here. That's kind of cool. My village name. What do I want to name my village? You know what? That sounds excellent. We are going to go with Draumheim. Dream City. The beginnings of this will move kind of fast. But I'm going to go over basically what I'm thinking in terms of planning, because I want to be thinking about a lot of things up front to sort of get us off on the best foot forward. So here is where our castle would be, right? This is absolutely where I want it to be. And then in terms of building, we'd want one settlement over on this side, but this looks a little tricky to start off with. Maybe not. I'm thinking like, so for reference, like I need to be supplying a bunch of different products to my citizens, and I'm looking for where I can do that best, and I need sort of a mix of open plains and dense forest. And I'm thinking over here might be a better start. I'll purchase this as my first territory. This middle one will be my free, and then I'm assuming this island will be its own that I purchase later. And those are the initial 3 I absolutely want to purchase. I'll get my wood in here, and I'll clear all of this to make way for my first housing development, which needs to be pretty carefully planned out. I don't think I want this territory. It's too oddly shaped, though those features are nice. So I think we go for it. This will be our first territory. My village center, I want to be over here as far as possible. Next up, we're going to plop our builder's hut. I want this probably... You know, it doesn't produce any sort of bad vibes. A little off center, pretty center located. We're going to assign 3 residents to it right off the bat. And then we are going to go right ahead to our lumber camp. Immediately after that, I want a forester's hut right next to it. go ahead and designate our logging space right away. It's not going to need anywhere near this much, so let's cut it back. Realistically, 3 foresters can... oh, I just learned you can right-click those to make them go away. How handy. Realistically, this is about all the space they need with a forester. Let's get them going. Next, I want a well. Third, I want a berry hut. Not a lot of berries in the area, but over here is close to 2 of them, which I think is our best bet. Third up, let's get our market stall going. Right along here seems fine. Slap a simple shelf over top. And our people will get going. Up here in our top right is our progression. Right off the bat, I want to get a storage yard and fishing. And I'm going to immediately claim my second free territory. Oh, this is nice. Sometimes I've run into situations where this is split, but this one is not. We are going to get a fishing hut going. Make sure we're close to some fish. I could be persuaded to put it here. It's closer between the two eventually when we unlock them. Assign a citizen. You'll be selling berries. Speaking of which, we need to gather those berries. I'm down to 0 citizens left, but Foundations recently has made it so people will immigrate really, really early. Speaking of which, let's get some housing painted. Start them off not there. All around here. 2 new citizens. Obviously, we want a forester, and let's paint our reforestation area. Very nice. And then our second will become our fisher. Go to our market stall. We're going to adjust it. Place a red tent. You will begin selling fish. And I also want to place our granary down. Wow, this is filling in quite quickly already. Let's take up the space right there ahead of time. And let's increase the size of our housing some more. I really want to think carefully about this because this is kind of how everything begins, so to speak. Now, I don't foresee myself keeping this forest over here, but right now it does serve a pretty nice purpose. So what I think I'll do is instead of clicking remove resource, I will instead have my woodcutters be able to harvest this. And slowly but surely they will chip away at that. And as a matter of fact, I think I might remove the designation for this area for the time being. And that might slow down wood production at the start, but I don't foresee it being too big of an issue. Now I'm absolutely going to want a warehouse, and I think I'll put it right here. 2 new citizens. 1 for the market tender. That one's extremely important. And then the next one I think will be a granary carrier. Oh, I'm out of stone. You know what? Might not be a granary carrier. I don't think that we can harvest that stone, which is rather unfortunate. That's okay. Let's make this stone our top priority. We will unassign you. Definitely strapped for logs at the moment, but hopefully that should clear up as time progresses. You can see the woodcutters are beginning to thin out these trees over here. And our beginning shacks coming together. What a funny animation. Just a single citizen this time. That's okay. We absolutely are bottlenecked at the moment by stone. So our builders continue to disperse logs. You require planks. In terms of things I want to unlock, I think the first two... No, the first one's absolutely the manor house. And I think I've been utilizing a part of the manor house incorrectly in the past. That being said, I wonder if it's part of the upgrades. You know, it's a little hard to tell. Yeah, okay, I need to unlock village fortifications. Sure. That's the plan. That's where we're going to beeline towards. Slowly. On this coast here of Draumheim. Well, this should raise happiness by quite a bit. They've been missing water. I'm not going to start that quest yet. I don't want it kind of sitting there. So I want to begin to think about the size that I want my housing battery. And I'm thinking I want it... about that big. I think that's quite a bit of room. Assign berries and fish. Can't use the granary quite yet, but that's okay. The need hasn't arisen. 2 new citizens. Very much welcome. I think we're only going to need 1 by the time it gets built. 2, and now we're going to get our saws going. That's not interfering with our housing, is it? Nope, it's right outside. Which is exactly what I was hoping it would be. Houses are slowly going up. New ruler title. See, the granary is filling up quite nice. Our markets are well stocked with fish and berries. Thinking ahead, these territories out here look like fantastic opportunities to put grain and hop production. And I think that we will get to that not today, but soon. Very ominous. So we're just waiting for our resources to trickle in. As I had anticipated, we are a little bit gate locked by our wood, which I think I might now redesignate this area as a little wood cutting. Keep the old area as well, just to keep resources coming in. And we are now building our sawmill, which will take us sort of to the next leap. 2 citizens, both of you guys are going to be working at the future sawmill. One of the next things I want to plan out in advance is absolutely going to be our church. And I'm thinking there's a fantastic spot for it just over here. And as soon as, yep, you are built, assign 2, I'm going to plan it out and begin construction. Now, so how can we make this church interesting? I definitely need it to be big. I'm going to be pre-building it to be a fairly substantial, structure here. Let's just start placing some buildings and seeing what kind of mischief we can get up to. Don't like that. kind of an asymmetrical design there. Yeah, I want that one. Need a bell tower. Minor, major. Oh, this provides light fortification. Interesting. Let's make it nice and tall. It's a little too tall. Welcome a new citizen. Let's put a cross up there. And let's put 2 wooden steeples. Let's remove the wooden cross. Let's put a stone cross. And put 2 wooden crosses up there. And that's a 72 occupancy church. I want one more. I want to leave room for a little bit. Yeah, there we go. And let's also consider a side entrance here. And a side entrance here. And a back entrance. Now this is way overbuilt for what we need right now. It's going to take a really long time to build. But for where we're going to be, it's going to be absolutely necessary. What I will tell my production team to do is focus on the warehouse for the time being. Now you just require a teeny bit of stone and mostly wood and tools. We have the tools, so it'll just be waiting on the wood. And I'm fine with waiting for a little bit. It gives me time to think and plan and figure out and build up some other resources. It's a fairly decent centrally located area. 2 new villagers. I think we're going to fill out our current empty roster. And then the next couple will go right into the warehouse. What's interesting is you can specify for them to focus on different individual sub-buildings inside the building, which I think is a really cool feature. Now, we absolutely... Normally, my warehouse, especially next to the wood, I would dedicate wholly to just wood, but in this case, I need to be importing tools fairly soon. So I'm going to set it to all 4 of the basic resources. And then here after the church's construction, we'll be able to unlock our first trade route, in which case they should always be importing or selling tools. Yes, they do, at 6 gold per. Now we're just playing the waiting game. Just wanted to bring you guys in. While we're still under construction, we've made a lot of progress on the church. We welcomed a couple of new visitors, and the town is slowly growing. We are bottlenecked absolutely by our wooden plank production, but that'll change over time, trust me. And then as soon as we get the church online, happiness will raise quite dramatically, and I think we'll begin filling out quite a bit more of our humble town start. Anyways, I'll bring you back when we're almost there. All right, and with that, our church is operational. Still under construction, bare bones, but you can see the residents start flooding in. The happiness rising as service was taking a 20% reduction on our total happiness, bringing us probably up to about an 80, which will be very nice for getting new citizens in. With that almost built, we have a new immigrant, and I will be happily bringing you into the town. Welcome. Become a transporter. Our only last vacant position is one at the warehouse, but we will soon have more as I'm going to begin construction of our manor house, which will include our tax office. Now, where I want to build this, I'm not entirely sure yet. In the past, I've liked to build them kind of on the coast. And I'm thinking I might do that here, in this awkward little space in this corner. We probably won't go nearly as bold, but I would certainly like to make something that's visually interesting. We will absolutely need a light fortification. We want an entrance, and a large manor entrance seems fitting. I'm thinking on this now, and I'm second guessing the position of this. And I think I'm going to go with that feeling. And I think I'm going to push it farther back into this corner. This time, let's make something that's a little more bare bones, cut and dry. We definitely want a tax collector. Size you up. You know what? Let's bring it out. I think that can make something quite interesting. And the Great Hall, of course, needs fortification. And then a visitor spot. Almost to 10 prosperity. It might honestly be worth waiting. Seeing if adding these two will bring our prosperity up to 10. Not quite. That's okay. So we're going to need a lot of labor splendor here. Let's move this to this side. That seems quite nice. Get a weather vane. And patch that onto there. Little roofed shed. I'll leave this side open. Currently only 9 splendor, but that might be okay. 15 tools. Let's go ahead and build it. And then we'll adjust it later when we have unlocked the beautification, which will be able to boost our splendor, because we want to be able to hit these sort of blockades, landmarks. I guess I should go over that really quick. So how the progression in this game works is based on splendor and influence. And so you get splendor by building basically beautiful buildings, right? And one of the key parts in doing that is unlocking this here. But you need 10 prosperity, which at the start you'll get from just bringing in new citizens. So just keep bringing in new citizens until you're at 10 prosperity. And then you can unlock these, which are sort of like your really fundamental upgrades. The first of which we're going to get beautification. In our manor house probably won't be done by then. It's quite expensive on planks, but then we'll be able to upgrade our manor. Currently we have 1 labor splendor. And by the time this is done, I think it'll be 9, right? And we need 25. And we'll get the majority of that from there. And this will unlock our village fortifications, which will be the next big milestone I want to hit before we move on to farming. As odd as that sounds, but trust me, I have a plan. I have a plan. As well, I'm going to need to move these, all of these, back just a little bit, not a crazy amount. And I think I might start doing that. It only costs 1 gold, and getting this done now ahead of time will be helpful. So it's not a crazy difference, just a slight pushback, and that's because we need to make room for our wall. And that should push me... I thought that would push me over 10 splendor, but I guess not. Yeah, so it's super quick to rebuild. It just needs a couple of resources. Church is bustling. As expected, weekly attendance is going to be low compared to its size, but remember, we overbuilt our church for future plans. And one thing I need to keep in mind is that I don't need to go crazy on some of these ahead of time. So to give a sort of idea of where we're heading, we want to upgrade these houses to tier 2 in density, not in quality, in density, which requires light fortification and a patrolling guard. So we're on our way towards light fortification. We need to sort our money out, which is why we're getting the manor house. And then by unlocking the manor house and upgrading it with the splendor we talked about, we're going to unlock village fortifications, which allows us to build our wall around where all of our citizens live. And then once we have that wall, that is the light fortification checked off. And then we will need to build our castle keep on this island. And that will allow us to create troops that can then patrol the area. Now, some of these already have light fortification, and that's okay. Getting that from the rustic church and eventually from the great manor. Though I'm beginning to think that I might not even need a castle yet, because you can unlock something in the Great Hall to allow patrolling. I just don't know where that is at the moment. And I'm thinking it's one of those two. These two people will push us not over 10 splendor. Sadness. Wonder if purchasing... Yeah, okay. Purchasing a territory did it. This will allow us to unlock beautification. We can't spend all of our money, especially since we don't have a tax office quite operational yet. I'm not going to beautify the village. I'm not going to do that yet. So that was very fortunate timing. We got a little gold surplus there. Definitely appreciate that. I think we're going to take this time now to designate the removal of a lot of this. I don't know who does this specifically. I think it's unemployed villagers. Maybe not. I don't know who does it, but I want those trees gone. We have the option for new residents, but for once I'm thinking of declining the offer. Purely because I think we're just full up. I have 7 unemployed people at the moment. Oh, happiness boost will be very nice. The last thing holding our citizens back is rustic food, which comes from bread. And we certainly will be doing that in the future. Our manor house is slowly approaching completion. Getting closer and closer. It looks like we're about to complete our manor house fully, which will unlock the ability to tax our citizens, which will finally be a gold increase. Now we're going to immediately go to our building and make changes. Because I need to bring this up to 25 labor splendor. We're already at 13, so it's not going to take a lot. I do love these bushes. Place a couple around. 60 coins. Can't go too crazy on the budget. 5 for 1, 20 for 2. Little bench could be nice. 20. We need 5 more. Some planters there. That's 26. Build it all. Labor tier 2. Next time. Labor tier 2, we want to unlock village fortifications. Now these use the labor coins, which we have plenty of. All of those. Okay, so fortification did unlock what I was hoping it would, which is very nice. I think we can literally afford everything in the category, which is hilarious. Lots of sub-buildings. Dutiful prayers. Refined food, not quite available yet. We will be getting a bailiff. Sure. Okay, so in terms of sub-buildings, that has allowed us to build the watch post, which will be really, really important. Needs 1 room and interior access. We have a couple of new things. So let's... That looks horrible. Place it sideways. It kind of becomes its own little sub-building. 24 planks, 4 tools, just enough. Looks good. And then very quickly, I'm going to unlock the trade route. Didn't mean to bring new citizen in, kind of force of habit. That's unlocked us to trade resources, and the most prevalent thing we absolutely will be selling is planks. Above, let's put it at 75 for now. And we want to import tools when we are below 10. Can't afford a whole lot at the moment, but that's okay. Okay, sure, why not? Get a bunch of fish. Okay, so we have the ability to patrol soon. Look at that. But now we need to construct our wall. So I like to start with a gate. Absolutely. I want one there. Let's have this kind of meander around. Behind there. Oh yeah, I bought that. I was like, when did I get that territory? This will be where? It's a little hard to place these sometimes. People exit to the farming area. We'll scoot along. And you can see why I had to move those. Let's get another gate. Angle it a little bit. Need to place a wall. You know, I'm honestly thinking of putting a second gate back here with how much commotion I see going on. Around. Leave that there for the time being. Oh, I've done an okay job of staying. That's funny. We'll probably cut resident back there. And I'll adjust the zoning a little more. Just outside of town, will be the stone gathering. And you know what? Let's make a quirky little part here. Where it kind of juts out for something. I don't know what yet. It's always good to have extra space. Our castle bridge will be right about here. So that entrance should be more than fine enough. And we'll kind of meander along the coast before coming up closer to it. And just like that. Let's see, am I happy with this? I think I am. Let's build it. Oh, okay. Cool. We have a lot more patrollers. That's very, very nice. Let's look at our jobs. We still have quite a bit of unemployed. Housing, let's adjust this to reflect a little bit more of the area. Trim that back a little bit. Fill this in. Remember, there was a huge forest here. Now it's a bunch of workable space. And trim it back here. Perfect. A wave is going to happen. I don't want it to happen yet. I want it to complete the wall. And I want to build up a buffer of resources before I do this. Also, I don't want the berry brew on. I don't want cloth on. By unselecting these stars, you can remove them from your little list up here. So right now, our manor is built. We have patrolling ready to go. Maybe, just maybe, if I set the patrolling area. Maybe houses might upgrade slowly, but we'll see. 200 more coins in storage. I'm broke. Really broke? Oh, forgot to set tax. Bump that up. We need the tax money so bad. Why not? 4 watchmen. Everybody's employed now. They're just suffering from refined food shortage. That's okay. So yeah, now we need to let kind of our simulation run. The wall needs to be built, and then our money situation needs to be remedied as taxes are slowly collected. So I think I can go ahead and do this and just let it run for a minute. I'll get you guys back in when we're ready to move on. All right, folks, we're getting extremely close. As you can see, there's only a small section of the wall left. And once that's done, I anticipate you'll see quite a lot of the rest of the houses almost immediately upgrading. You can see some of the ones closer to the church and the manor already have. That'll help reduce the overall load of houses upgrading. But it's still going to be a rush to get all the... There they all go. Oh my gosh. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 new constructions immediately in like under a second. But it's much needed. This will be a huge upgrade to our current housing situation. And it's one of the big reasons why some of my earlier villages failed, or at least didn't succeed as much as I wanted them to. Now, we've unlocked a labor privilege, and I'm absolutely thinking about additional taxation. I don't know, dutiful prayers. That's going to be huge to keeping our citizens really happy with the taxes we have. You see, it went from 25 to 18%. So there's a lot more space in the city now. Each of these houses went from 2 residents to adding 4 additional, so 6 total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 times 4, which is an additional space for 72 people. It's the equivalent of having basically 2 houses for the price of 1 in terms of footprint. And then we're absolutely going to go for high density housing when we can, but this will keep us satiated for quite a while. Our money situation has improved. The simulations run without me messing with anything for quite a while. So it looks like we're bringing in about 90 gold from taxes. Upkeep is 27. We're making about 54 a month profit, which ain't bad. Now, before I start my next progress, which is absolutely going to be farming, I want to let all of these upgrade so people have houses and they aren't complaining. And we're absolutely going to be using a bunch of planks coming up soon. So I don't want them struggling to upgrade these houses and me building new projects as well. Even though we have the space, I'm not going to be investing in any new villagers. What I will do, though, is one of the first things I want to get done is adding a new market stall for bread. We'll accept 1 villager for that, I guess. So my brain is thinking ahead a little bit right now, and in the future, I need an area for a tavern, and I think I'm going to put that here. So I'm going to carve out a little area where no residents can build for the future to save myself any potential headache. And I think this is where I'm going to put my tavern. Now, it's a good thing that we did this and got all of our medium density housing in and opened up all these spots, because we're going to need like 30-ish new residents to fill out our wheat battery to making bread. And in the future, hops. And I was looking at the territories, right? So we own this massive piece, which is very oblong. And I want you to, whenever you're playing this game, to always remember that these roads are not permanent. They're very temporary and made by travelers as they pass. And so I'm thinking that we might build and force people to, well, that being said, they do tend to choose the path of least resistance, which does tend to cut fields in part sometimes. You know what? Maybe ignore that advice. I'm thinking we're going to need to acquire this territory as well for the future, because this is where we'll get our meat. But, what do I want to do? I'm going to have the farms probably on the outer fringe. 2 on each side. I like to do 4 wheat farms per 1 windmill and 1 bakery. We don't have the logs for that. And I need room. I'm not going to put cheese over here. Cheese is another product you can create, and I think I'm going to put that closer to the left side. That way I balance out where my citizens are, because they like to settle closer to their workplace. So this right half of town will be for wheat and hops, and this left half of town will be for cheese and any other products I want to make like that. Got the market stall in for bread. Still under construction on a lot of these houses, but I think I want to begin laying out some foundations. Yeah, this is definitely bigger than I thought it was. Let's place our windmill first. I want the windmill pretty close to the entrance of town. And I want the bakery on the other side of that. We're going to want a granary for temporary storage here. Keep it real close to these farms. Which means, and I want 4 wheat farms. So I'll place 1 right here, and its wheat field will go back here. And that probably leaves room for 1 more here. And its field will go back here. Which places another wheat farm here. Yeah, I'm really going to want that 4th territory to make good use of this 4th one. So this should do. This will keep, hopefully, a stockpile of wheat. And be able to have the mill and the bakery running just about full time. And then I want room for another farm, which I could place here. To overflow it for when we get beer production, because I want to upgrade my entire base here to commoners in the future. But I need to be able to produce... Oh, that's what I can also put out here is sheep for garments. So we still have quite a number of in-progress buildings. I wish that my wood gatherers were faster, or at least the people that make planks. I think in the meantime, I'm willing to pay the 50 gold to unlock the wood parts. With at least 1 improvement. Let's add 2 worker capacity to it. Sounds like good. Do I have... Yeah, I have just enough cloth for that, thankfully. I don't want any of these becoming commoner buildings quite yet, because it is very expensive in terms of resources needed to upgrade these buildings, and the second I do, all of these people are going to want to upgrade, you know. It's going to be a complete disaster in terms of being able to keep up with what these people are asking. They need the entertainment, which is why I made space for the tavern. They're going to need refined food, 2 of them. That's why we have the cheese and the wheat and the meat, all in future planning in mind. And then we have over here as well will be the tailoring, where I will make shirts, which I need to... Last time I didn't do enough. And it wound up being intense goods shortage, because the other goods to make, such as barrels, or no, not barrels, candles, and, oh, what are the other ones? Like fine dining dishes are much more difficult to make. And I never invested in them, which was probably a mistake. And I think this time I like to rectify that by focusing a lot on the monastery and getting it up past just where it initially is. But that requires a lot of work. So I think for that, that's where I'm going to leave the episode off. In episode 2, we'll come back. All these buildings will be upgraded and we'll be ready to start our wheat battery and recruiting for that, and maybe figuring out the beginnings of our tavern. And that sounds good. So thanks so much, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.